So I've been pondering lately, and I'm well aware that's never a good thing, but I have been. And I've been thinking, you guys know, I'm a pretty big gamer. I think that's pretty apparent. At least I would hope it would be. If not, well, whatever. Anyway, but I've been thinking about my video game collection, and I've been thinking, I have some pretty weird shit. And I think I'll share some of that with you, if you don't mind. If you have the time to spare. Anyway, so this first thing I want to show you is something that I got when I was younger from my original PlayStation. And I hate it. Now, at first glance, you're probably going to notice that this seems to be a fairly standard third-party controller. But look at it, and tell me what is weird about this. Go on. Take your time. It's okay. I'll wait. Okay, time's up. If your answer is the lack of analog sticks but analog balls instead, then you'd be right. Some of you may have pointed out the auto-fire button, or the fact that the X button doesn't actually have an X on it. Now, the X button thing is, well, my fault from overuse because the paint on it isn't very good. The auto thing is kind of stupid. These analog balls, and I know, I hate saying it too, are easily the biggest design, I don't even want to call it a flaw, because it did this intentionally. So, I don't know who thought this would be better, but try to play a game like Ape Escape with these. It's not a fun experience. That's enough about that, though. Next thing, if you were around for my old channel, you know about this, is my Nomad. Not really much more to say about it. It's big, it's heavy, it's kind of a brick, fails as a portable system, but it works, and I like it. Adding on to Sega-related things, I also have that stupid little mouse accessory for the original Sega Genesis. Now, a lot of people don't even know this ever existed. It did, and mine actually doesn't work. Not because it lacks a ball, though you may have noticed that. I actually have that. It's the ball cover, and do me a favor, if you have an old-school mouse, not a new optical one, try taking off the cover that keeps the ball in and then using it. It's next to impossible. But it does work. There's just not a lot of games compatible with it, rendering the whole thing rather pointless. Next thing, and I hate this thing, but it's a 32X. I actually have two of these. One of them doesn't work. Anyway, not much to say about it. It's awful. It's mushroom-shaped. I hate it. Let's move on. But, in addition to things 32X related, I should point out that I have this. Now, if you watch the AVGN, you probably know what this is. It's a CD 32X game. Yes, they made these. Don't know how long. Don't even know why they did it, but they did. Now, you're probably wondering, is it any good? Well, no, for one. It's an awful game. And I think the thing that bothers me most about this game in particular is that I don't know why it's a CD 32X game, because I cannot for the life of me figure out what the 32X is doing that is making this any better than a standard Sega CD game where you shoot at a scrolling FMV. It's the same thing. It doesn't even look any better, so I don't see what the point is. Next thing is that I have a copy of Parasite Eve 2. Not much to say about it. It's a decent game, though. On top of that, I also own copies of both Tomba and Tomba 2. Now, these games are two of my favorite childhood games. I used to play them all the time. I actually had to buy them second-hand later on because I only rented them as a kid. Unfortunately, the developer of both of them kind of went out of the business after Tomba 2 because the games didn't sell, even though, honestly, for the time, they were pretty groundbreaking. This next one is pretty stupid, but I'll show them off anyway. Do you guys remember back in the late 90s when Pizza Hut did that promotion with PlayStation demo discs? Well, I have both of those discs. I never won anything, but I did get to play some pretty awesome demos. I also own a copy of Shenmue. The thing about Shenmue is that I don't like it. I know, a lot of people say it's, one of the best games on the Dreamcast, but I just don't like it. I think it's compelled by two things. Number one, the game hasn't aged well, which is the first problem. The second problem is that I have to move around using the D-pad, which is fucking stupid. Also, I own a Game Gear with a rechargeable battery pack. I'm not sure if it lasts any longer than regular batteries, but I know it saves me money, so that's okay. I have a handful of games for it. It's alright. but I could see why the Game Boy beat it in the end. Speaking of Game Boys, I also own an original gray brick Game Boy, as I like to call them. Still works just fine, too. So that's about it in terms of weird things I own. I have a lot of other stuff too, but nothing really all that unique or strange. Basically not stuff that I wouldn't expect somebody else to own. So that begs the question, do any of you have any weird things in your gaming collection? So if you want, post a video response and share it. I'm kinda curious, and if you can't post a video response, just leave it in the comments. You know, 'cause that's easier and less time consuming. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. Anyway. This is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.